What if the reason you're stuck isn't because the world is against you, but because you keep making everything about you? Think about it. Every challenge, every failure, every uncomfortable moment, you replay it over and over in your mind, but only from your point of view. How do I look? What will they think? What if I'm not good enough? That loop you keep getting caught in isn't truth. It's ego. And it's killing your progress. Because when your mind is constantly obsessed with how you're being perceived, you're not thinking about growth. You're thinking about survival. And the worst part, you don't even know it's happening. This mindset is a silent trap. It disguises itself as self-awareness, but in reality, it's self-absorption. And the more you live in that mental bubble, the more insecure, anxious, and hesitant you become. Every opportunity turns into a threat. Every challenge becomes a personal attack. Every mistake feels like proof that you don't belong. But here's the truth you need to hear. Not everything is about you. And that's not an insult. It's your way out. Because the moment you stop making it about you, you start seeing clearly. You stop taking everything so personally. You start realizing that the world isn't watching your every move, waiting for you to mess up. Most people are too busy worrying about themselves. You're not under a microscope, you're just in your own head. And the second you accept that, you gain freedom. You stop walking on eggshells, you stop hesitating, you start doing. This is where your breakthrough begins. When you shift focus from yourself to what needs to be done, pressure fades, fear shrinks, doubt loses its grip. You stop asking, can I do this? Start asking, what needs to be done right now? That change in mindset rewires your entire system. It gives you power, not the loud, show-off kind of power, but the quiet kind. The kind that builds unshakable confidence. Because when you're not making it about your image, you're free to focus on the mission. And here's your reason to keep going. Because the life you want, the strength, the clarity, the impact, it's all waiting for you on the other side of your ego. When you let go of the obsession with being liked, being perfect, being impressive, you step into real power, the power of purpose, the power of action, the power of showing up even when no one's watching. So stay with this. This isn't just about motivation. It's about rewiring how you see yourself in the world. Because the truth is, once you stop making it about you, everything changes. Fear loses control. Purpose takes over, and the life you've been chasing finally begins. Fear is not the problem. Making fear about you is the problem. Most people never move forward not because they lack potential, but because they are trapped in their own spotlight, blinded by their own reflection. Every fear becomes exaggerated when your mind keeps asking, what if I fail? What if I look stupid? What will they think of me? That constant internal questioning poisons your courage and turns every opportunity into a threat. But here's the truth. Fear was never meant to stop you. It was meant to sharpen you, to wake you up, to push you into focus. The only reason it overwhelms you is because you keep making it personal. You feel fear in your chest, in your breath, in your gut, but that doesn't mean it has authority over your life. Fear becomes toxic when it's tied to your identity. When you confuse the emotion of fear with the idea that you are weak. You are not weak, you are human, and every human feels fear. But some choose to move anyway. They've learned the secret that changes everything. When you stop thinking about how fear makes you look, you start using it as fuel. When fear stops being about your ego, it starts becoming about your mission. This is the shift that separates those who live in hesitation from those who live in motion. If your focus stays on yourself, fear will always win. But the moment you focus on something beyond yourself, on the task, on the goal, on the people counting on you, fear loses its grip. Because fear thrives in self-obsession. It grows in silence, in overthinking, in that constant self-monitoring that keeps you frozen. But when your eyes move outward, fear shrinks. You're not acting for validation anymore, you're acting for conviction. This is how real strength is built, not by removing fear, but by refusing to let it be the center of your life. You become dangerous when you no longer let fear shape your choices. You become powerful when you stop asking for permission from your emotions. It's not about pretending fear doesn't exist. It's about refusing to worship it. It's about showing up even when you feel it, especially when you feel it. And here's what no one tells you. When you take the spotlight off yourself, you actually begin to see clearly. You stop performing, you start executing, you stop analyzing, you start leading. Life isn't waiting for the fearless version of you to arrive. It's waiting for the version of you that's willing to feel the fear and still take the next step. That version isn't trapped in ego. That version is free. That version is you once you decide to stop making fear about you and start making your life about purpose. That decision is everything. And that moment can be right now. Confidence doesn't come from convincing yourself that you're good enough. It comes from forgetting to ask the question. Real confidence isn't loud. It's not built on repeating affirmations or pretending to be fearless. It's born the moment you shift your focus from how you look to how you serve, from proving your worth to providing value. That's the turning point. When you stop obsessing over how people see you and start obsessing over what needs to be done, you change, not just mentally, physically, emotionally. You become steady, present, strong. The reason most people never feel confident is because they're performing. Every move is filtered through self-judgment. Every action is weighed down by thoughts like, did I say that right? Do I seem confident? Do they like me? That noise is the enemy. It distracts. It distorts. It disconnects you from the truth. Confidence is not about being seen. It's about being effective. When your focus is contribution, not impression, you rise. When your thoughts are on the mission, not on your appearance, you lead. Confidence is not found in comfort. It is forged in commitment. You get confident by doing the hard thing, not thinking about it. You get confident by putting in the reps, by showing up when no one claps, by choosing discipline over ego. Confidence is built when you no longer care about being perfect and start caring about being useful. Is built when you show up to add value even when no one's watching, even when you feel unqualified, because deep down, you know it's not about you. When you're focused on contribution, hesitation disappears. You stop holding back. You speak up, not to impress, but to impact. You take action, not because you feel ready, but because it matters. That's what separates you. That's what builds unstoppable momentum. The most magnetic people in the world aren't the ones who seek attention. They're the ones who give it, who listen, who serve, who elevate others. And they do it not because they're confident. They do it because they stopped making confidence the goal. They made service the goal. And confidence followed. You don't need to wait to feel ready. You just need to shift your attention away from yourself and onto your purpose. Let go of the mirror. Pick up the mission. Let go of trying to look powerful. Start being useful. You don't need to be impressive. You need to be intentional. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more present ones. Fully engaged, fully committed, fully outside of themselves. That's where your confidence is. Not in the performance, not in the spotlight, but in the silent, focused decision to contribute with everything you've got. Whether you're applauded or ignored, whether you're praised or doubted. Confidence is born when you finally stop asking, do they believe in me? And start asking, what can I give today? That's when you rise. That's when you walk differently. And that's when you stop waiting to become confident, because you already are. You don't need to be special. You need to be consistent. The lie that you have to be chosen, gifted, or extraordinary is what keeps people stuck. Waiting, hesitating, wondering if they have what it takes. But greatness has never belonged to the ones who feel special. It belongs to the ones who decide to keep going. The ones who stop measuring their worth and start multiplying their effort. You are not here to be admired. You are here to get to work. When you let go of the need to be different, you become dangerous. Because now, you're not acting from insecurity, you're acting from ownership. You stop wasting energy trying to stand out and start using it to stand firm. Your power isn't found in being unique. It's found in being undeniable, in doing what others won't, in showing up when it's hard, in delivering value over and over again without asking for applause. You don't rise by trying to be impressive. You rise by becoming effective. Most people never get there. They chase validation. They wait for recognition. They want someone to tell them they're ready, that they're enough. But the truth is, you'll never feel ready. You'll never feel like enough if you keep measuring yourself by how special you are. Stop waiting to be chosen. Stop hoping someone sees your potential. Choose yourself. See yourself. Do the work. Build the proof. It's not the gifted who win. It's the grounded, the focused, the relentless. When you drop the ego, you pick up responsibility. You start holding yourself to a higher standard, not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you know what you're capable of. You stop comparing. You stop complaining. You start doing. You develop grit, patience, precision. You stop needing to be seen and start focusing on results. And over time, results speak louder than reputation. Impact speaks louder than intention. Discipline speaks louder than dreams. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission to start. You don't need to be special to succeed. You need to be clear. You need to be committed. You need to stop making your work about your image and start making it about your standard. How you do anything becomes how you do everything. So, raise the bar, even if no one sees it, especially if no one sees it. That's where character is born. You were not born to be worshipped. You were born to contribute, to build, to create, to lead from the front, not to be praised from the sidelines. Let go of the fantasy that something magical is supposed to happen to you. Nothing happens until you move, until you decide, until you commit. Stop looking for the shortcut. Stop chasing the feeling of being special. The truth is, when you show up fully, work relentlessly, and stop making it about you, you become someone impossible to ignore. Not because you're different, but because courage doesn't come when everything feels safe. It comes when something matters more than your fear. The reason most people hesitate isn't because they don't care. It's because they care too much about the wrong thing. They care about being judged, about failing, about being misunderstood. But courage is built the moment you care more about your mission than your comfort, more about impact than image, more about responsibility than reputation. The shift happens when you finally decide it's not about you anymore. You're not here to protect your ego. You're here to protect your purpose. You're here to fight for what matters, to serve what's greater than you, to show up when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, and uncertain. That's where real courage is born. Not in confidence, but in commitment. When you stop asking if you feel brave enough, and start asking, who needs you to be brave? That question changes everything. It silences doubt. It destroys hesitation. It gives you clarity in the middle of chaos. You can't lead with one foot in and one foot out. You can't grow by tiptoeing around fear. At some point, you have to draw a line, not to prove anything to the world, but to prove something to yourself. That you can be counted on, that you don't need permission, that you don't back down when it matters, that you can be counted on because you are trusted, and that what you do, when you act from duty, fear shrinks. When you act from ego, fear grows. Your emotions may fight you, your mind may resist, but when your purpose becomes louder than your excuses, you move. The people who go the furthest aren't fearless, they're focused. They wake up with something worth fighting for, a reason beyond themselves, a responsibility they refuse to drop. They're not looking for comfort, they're looking for clarity. They're not interested in applause, they're interested in progress. You can feel it in how they show up, in how they speak, in how they work. They've made peace with discomfort. They've made war with excuses. And they don't quit just because it's hard. They keep going because it matters. You don't need the world to understand your fight. You just need to remember why you started, who you're doing it for, what's at stake if you quit. That's your edge. That's your anchor. And when fear comes, because it will, you look it in the face and keep walking. Not because you're unafraid, but because you're unwilling to make it about you. Because someone's waiting on your courage. Because your silence serves no one. Because your hesitation helps nothing. You were built for this, not to live small, not to chase comfort, but to choose purpose when it's heavy, to stand tall when it's inconvenient, to speak up when it's risky. You don't need to feel ready. You need to remember who you're fighting for. And once you do, you stop hesitating. You start moving. And you never look back. You don't need more praise. You need more discipline. Praise feels good, but it fades. Discipline lasts. It's the quiet force that doesn't need to be seen, doesn't need to be celebrated, and doesn't stop when motivation disappears. Discipline is the decision to act even when you don't feel like it, especially when no one is watching. That's where your power is, not in how loud you are, but in how consistent you can be when it would be easier to quit. Validation is a trap. The more you crave it, the weaker you become. Because every time you need approval, you hand over control. You let someone else decide how valuable your effort is. And that's a dangerous game. If your identity is built on being liked, then rejection destroys you. If your worth is based on applause, then silence breaks you. But when you build yourself on discipline, you become untouchable. You work without needing credit. You improve without needing compliments. You grow without needing permission. That's what separates the driven from the distracted. Most people wait for the right moment. They want to feel inspired before they act. But the right moment isn't coming. You make it. You create it by moving, by deciding, by showing up again and again until your actions no longer depend on how you feel. Discipline teaches you that feelings are not facts. They're temporary. They shift. But your standards shouldn't. You don't need to be in the mood. You just need to be in motion. Let go of the fantasy that success is glamorous. It's not. It's often boring, repetitive, lonely. That's why most people don't last, because they chase excitement instead of execution. But those who win, they fall in love with the process. They don't need to feel special every day. They don't need the dopamine hit of recognition. They get up, get focused, and get it done, regardless of how they feel. That kind of mindset turns ordinary people into unstoppable forces. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You need to prove something to yourself. that you're not ruled by emotion, that you don't fold when it's hard, that you don't rely on noise to stay consistent. Your discipline is the proof. It's the quiet contract between you and the life you say you want. It's not flashy, it's not easy, but it's honest. And if you honor it day after day, choice after choice, nothing can touch you, because you won't be moved by praise or rejection. You'll be moved by purpose. You have what it takes. But you need to stop making it about being seen and start making it about being solid. You don't need the world to clap for you. You need to wake up, show up, and keep showing up. Not because it's easy, not because it's fun, but because you made a decision, a real one. And once you do, nothing can stop you, not even you. You become powerful the moment you stop making your life about you. As long as everything revolves around how you feel, how you look, how you're perceived, you stay small, you stay reactive, you stay stuck in a loop of self-preservation that kills your progress. But when you rise above your ego, when you stop asking, how does this make me look, and start asking, what difference can I make, you step into a level of strength that most people never touch. When life is only about you, every obstacle feels personal. Every failure feels like shame. Every rejection feels like proof that you're not enough. That mindset poisons your potential. It keeps you fragile, easily shaken, always calculating how to stay comfortable. But when you live for something beyond yourself, when your focus becomes service, excellence, impact, everything shifts. You stop protecting your image and start building your legacy. You stop playing not to lose and start moving to win, not to impress, but to fulfill. Real strength is rooted in purpose, not ego, not noise, not attention. Purpose is what gives you stability in chaos. Purpose is what silences the doubt in your head. It becomes your compass when you want to quit, because it's not about how you feel, it's about what you're here to do. And the truth is, when you live with that kind of clarity, you can't be stopped, because you're no longer doing it for likes, for praise, or for validation. You're doing it because you were called to do it, because it matters. When you stop making it about you, pressure turns into fuel. Criticism becomes feedback. Struggle becomes growth. You no longer break from resistance, you build through it. And something incredible happens. You begin to feel light. Not because it's easy, but because you finally drop the weight of needing to be admired, because you finally feel the weight of needing to be You're not performing anymore. You're operating. You're creating. You're becoming the person your vision requires. Disciplined, focused, unshakable. You don't have time to be trapped by your ego. You don't have time to wait for confidence. You don't have time to wonder if people will approve. Every moment you spend making it about you is a moment you're not moving forward. A moment you're not contributing. A moment you're not leading. And if you want a life that actually means something, you have to let go of needing to be everything and start becoming someone who gives everything. This is how transformation happens. You stop chasing attention and start chasing truth. You stop asking for easy and start asking for purpose. You stop making your emotions the center of your decisions and start letting discipline drive your direction. You don't need to be the most talented, the most popular, or the most confident. You just need to make a choice. The choice to stop making it about you. And once you do, you'll become everything they said you couldn't, without even trying to be seen. This world does not need another person obsessed with being seen. It needs someone willing to serve, someone who will rise without asking for applause, someone who will lead without needing a stage. The most powerful people are the ones who stopped waiting to feel worthy and started living with purpose. They didn't need attention to act. They didn't need praise to persist. They understood that making an impact requires more than noise. It requires presence, sacrifice, and the discipline to make every moment count. There is a version of you that is focused, steady, and unstoppable. But you won't meet that version while chasing up. You'll meet them in silence, in solitude, in the hours where no one is clapping. That version doesn't care about being liked. They care about being useful. They show up not for validation, but because something inside them knows this work matters, that their life has weight, that every word, every action, every habit is shaping something greater than themselves. You don't need to convince anyone you're enough. You need to become undeniable. You need to be so grounded in your why that nothing shakes you. Not failure, not opinions, not fear. You need to move with such clarity that even when doubt whispers, it can't distract you. Because you're no longer here to be seen. You're here to build, to heal, to lead, to elevate. And that purpose gives you access to a power that ego never will. When you finally stop making it about you, fear loses its grip. You stop walking into rooms wondering if you belong and start walking in asking how you can serve. You stop shrinking under pressure and start rising under purpose. You don't flinch when things get hard. You lean in. Because your mission matters more than your mood. Your commitment matters more than your comfort. And your actions matter more than anyone's opinion. This is the moment where you let go of the need to be perfect, of the need to be praised, of the need to be chosen. You choose yourself. You take ownership. You stop apologizing for your calling and start honoring it with discipline. You stop chasing motivation and start cultivating consistency. You stop making everything about your emotions and start making it about your evolution. There's no more time to waste. No more pretending. No more performing. You are not here to impress the world. You are here to impact it. And that begins the second you stop making your story about what you deserve and start making it about what you're here to deliver. You are not your fears. You are not your failures. You are not your ego. You are your actions. And your actions will be the evidence of your transformation. You already have everything it takes. But now it's time to become someone who acts like it. No more hiding, no more waiting, no more making it about you. Just movement, just purpose, just truth.